Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed your day so far. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. All the podcasts that I've been doing are available on the youtube.com/Tuddle. If you haven't already done it, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button, because when you hit that bell button, you're going to get alerted to anytime I go live or I upload any brand new content. I'm going to get back into doing a live stream tonight. I'm going to try to do tonight, Thursday, Friday, and one over the weekend. Got to tell you, I'm kind of glad that it's going to be warming up a little bit. Still trying to figure it out. You know, every heater is a little bit different. And I got to tell you, it's a pretty good heater in this house. I know a lot of you guys up north are probably like, oh, Tuddle, it's Florida. You know, I was reading somewhere today, it was like, I think in 1977, it was one of the first recorded snowfalls in the state of Florida. And I saw some of the pictures, and I got to tell you, it must have been a hell of a snowstorm, because it does do that up in the Panhandle. Hell, I even think it snowed this year already in the Panhandle, but it just never lasts. I want to get into the first story of the day. I really do think that Montana just made marijuana recreational. And it definitely needs to be recreational. It needs to be just like beer or cigarettes. Beer and cigarettes kills more people every single year than marijuana ever will. And I'll say this until the day I die. I don't think there's ever been a recorded overdose from marijuana. Do you realize how much weed you would have to actually smoke to be able to kill yourself? The only thing that you're hurting is the hinges on the door to your refrigerator when you get blazed every single night. And a lot of people are just getting thrown in jail, clogging up the prison system, clogging up our court system. And it's just not, it's ridiculous, people. The only reason it hasn't become legal nationwide for recreational use is because big tobacco, big alcohol, they don't want any competition. I mean, it's smart on their point, but let's just call it how it is. But everybody's making a big deal about this guy running for Senate in Louisiana. And people are saying, oh, this is going to hurt him. It's not going to be good. Nobody's ever going to elect this guy, because in his campaign video, his campaign commercial, he is smoking one of the biggest blunts that I've ever seen. And you can tell that he is an experienced marijuana smoker, smoking weed and blunts. I'm pretty sure he probably rolled the thing himself. Or is it like a lot of those fast food commercials? You do realize a lot of the food that you're seeing on fast food TV commercials, it's not even really food. Like, I think, like, if you go to Dairy Queen and see some of their commercials, and you'll see it's not chocolate, it's motor oil. They do so much stuff. They add padding to make the burger look thicker at McDonald's. You know, you look at those commercials, I've never gotten a Big Mac or a Whopper anywhere near the thickness, the pristine shape that it is in the commercial. So, I don't know, maybe they did have somebody roll this blunt for this guy for the commercial itself, because they wanted it to look good. And it was the thickest, whitest smoke. So who knows? It might not even have been marijuana at all. But this guy is smoking a blunt, talking about marijuana use and all the messed up facts and stats that a lot of people don't know about.
Every 37 seconds, someone is arrested for possession of marijuana.
And this guy, I got to tell you, one of the nicest suits. He's sitting in a chair, looks like right at the edge of the Louisiana bayou, sitting in this big leather chair. It almost looks like he's sitting on a throne, but it's one of those chairs you would see in a very expensive lawyer's office. And he's sitting there. He's got that big-ass blunt. He's holding it correctly. Because you could tell somebody that's never smoked weed before, and the way that they hold it, the way that they look at it, the way that they smoke it, they put it up to their lips. You can easily point out a poser when it comes to smoking weed.
Since 2010, state and local police have arrested an estimated 7.3 million Americans for violating marijuana laws, over half of all drug arrests.
Think of all the other serious crimes that the law enforcement could be out there solving: murders, sex trafficking, pedophiles. I mean, those are the people we should go after. You're not seeing pot smokers getting into physical altercations. Now, you may see some of them. My dad always used to talk about that. If they got rid of alcohol at sporting events, yeah, I know that the beers are outrageous. You got to pay like $20 for a tall boy like can. And it really, really sucks. But I know that the stadiums, the teams, they're making a lot of money off of that. But get rid of the alcohol. Number one, you're going to get rid of all the physical altercations out there. And people are like, oh, yeah, well, what about the money from the beer sales? No. Let them blaze in the stadium. Less fights. Higher concession stand. Market value. It's plain and simple. You just kind of jack up the price a little bit when it comes to the food and the concessions and let them smoke their weed. I promise you, you will make your money back off of all that, even though they're charging $20 for a beer. But you're not seeing potheads commit a lot of crimes. It's just not happening. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen at all. Potheads, they don't want it. Dude, I don't know about stealing this car. I don't know about murdering this woman. I'm high, man. It's just too much effort. Too much physical activity for me, man. I have a hard enough time just walking to the fridge.
Black people are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana laws than white people. States waste $3.7 billion enforcing marijuana laws every year.
I know that everybody is trying to get this guy on their show. But if Vulture, if you're listening, please, let's try to get this guy on. I don't know. I mean, I know that there probably are some people in Louisiana listening to the show. I don't know how much I'd be able to help him, but I would vote for this guy. This guy's correct. He's cool. And you know a lot of the African-American voting base is going to vote for him. You're going to get a lot of white boy stoners. You're going to get some of those coon dicks out in the bayou. That's not a bad word, people. That's what they call some of the coon dicks out there. Coach Orgeron from used to be LSU. He was a coon dick. He's white. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to be racist by saying coon dick. It's not the case. But this guy, I think he's got a good chance. Now, I would like to see what his platform on other things is, but we'll see it. We'll see where it falls.
Most of the people police are arresting aren't dealers, but rather people with small amounts of pot, just like me.
I think that was a seller, just like me. So I'm sure that he probably has some weed convictions in his past, which is complete BS. He probably knew that this was going to come out when he was running. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to look cool as hell, smoking the biggest fat blunt. And nobody's going to be able to give me a hard time about it because guess what? I put it out there. I put my name on it. Put my name on it.
I'm Gary Chambers, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm one of my favorite people to have on the show. Matter of fact, probably my favorite person. Well, I got to say Vulture is one of my favorite because he does a lot of free stuff for me. But Charlie Alaimo is joining me again. Charlie, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Tuddle?
I'm doing well, man. I'm in the new place, the new spot. It's a 55 plus community too. So I've been staying inside. This isn't like the hobo fish camp where I can just roam. I do a lot of walking. I'm in walking distance of a CVS, a Circle K, a Chick-fil-A, Winn-Dixie. If I was still a drinker, there is a pretty good liquor store right down the street. So it's like I moved into the big city.
Hey, that's not too bad. In 55, that's around your age group.
So what's new in your world?
Well, not a lot's going on. I mean, Montana did finally recreate marijuana at the beginning of this year, so that's been pretty cool. It's been a month of that.
How did that happen before Florida? Like, I would have thought Florida would have been on the recreational side before Montana. Montana's not one of those places you would think, oh, recreational.
Honestly, Montana should have had it a long time ago, but they screwed up years back because they opened up the floodgates with medical, and they were giving medical cards to basically anybody, which is kind of what still kind of goes on, but they really screwed it up. And so people just voted it down for the last, I'd say 10 years until last year, or no, 2 years ago or whatever it was when they voted it the first time. Then it finally took effect. So I don't know. It takes forever anyway. It's not like when they vote for it, then you get it instantly that night.
No, and that's the other thing. For a while, John Morgan put all the money in for the medical here, and they were trying to put all types of limitations on it. And he was like, no, you're not. Not going to let that happen. Did they let the Indians smoke weed and peyote and stuff back then? Because, I mean, they could do whatever they want to on the res, can't they?
Yeah, basically. I think so. I mean, I don't know if you can grow a lot of peyote out there just because the res are out here anyway are pretty desolate, and there's not a lot of good farming land. They basically got hosed and they got stuck with crap land.
Go figure. We did that to all the well, I gotta tell you, the Seminole tribe got a pretty good piece of land. Plus, they get all the casinos as well too here in Florida.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Indian casinos up here, but there is all over on the East Coast. They're heavily populated. Connecticut, Florida. I bet you in the Carolinas, of course.
Earlier, I talked about this senator from Louisiana, and you said you had already seen the video and stuff. What do you think about this guy? Louisiana, do they even have medical, or?
I'm not sure what their status is, but I saw that video, 2 days ago, I want to say, on Twitter, and I thought it was great. It made me want to vote, and I don't vote, but I would vote for him if he was running anywhere that I lived, just because I like the balls that he has just to be like, you know what? I'm smoking a blunt in my endorsement video. That's cool as hell.
You're more of a smoker than I am. I do as well, but probably not as long as you have. Did he look like, because you can look at somebody that's just holding a blunt or just anything like that, a pipe, just the way they smoke, the way they handled themselves. Did he look like he was just doing this to be in with the cool crowd, or were you like, yeah, that's a veteran weed smoker?
I would say he's a veteran weed smoker. You could tell for a couple different things. Did you see the blunt that he had? It wasn't a welfare one. It was not a tiny blunt. That was a good finger-sized fun log that he had. And
do you think he rolled it?
Oh yeah. See, if that's the only thing that would have made that video that much better, if he's like, I'm running for Congress, and he's twisting it up, but still sitting there and just lighting it up like that was pretty fucking cool, I thought.
And now I also brought this up earlier when I was playing the audio. Like in fast food commercials, a lot of people see the burgers that they have in the commercial. A lot of people don't realize half the stuff on that burger is not even edible. Like with sundaes and stuff, they'll use motor oil on top of like vanilla ice cream. Do you think that was real weed? Because it's pretty good white smoke coming out of there.
I would hope so. I mean, who knows? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he was just smoking a cigar. But either way, I appreciate the what he was going for, because it was, who else has done that? Nobody. That's a good campaign video compared to these other people who. And you know what was great too? He wasn't coming out against anybody. He was coming out against weed laws and stuff, that people were getting locked up for small possession and large
I
possession.
think he brought up, he was like, more black people, more African Americans are put away for weed violations than these cracker ass honky. He didn't say cracker ass honky, but
I wish he would have.
that would have been cool. I would have been like, I'm moving to Louisiana.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know it's a couple years behind. The Saints suck now, but still,
Did you
pretty cool. I mean,
did you watch?
Go ahead.
Yeah, did you watch any of the NFL this past weekend?
I did not.
Yeah, a lot of them were pretty much blowouts. It was kind of cool to see the Bengals win their first playoff game since 1990.
Yeah, I mean, good. I appreciate that. I don't have a dog in the fight, as it were, so I don't really care who wins. But yeah,
Man, is Brady ever going to age, man? He might play until he's 50.
I hope he does. I used to not like him, but after he
I
left
hated
New
him.
England, I really don't have a problem with him. I just didn't like him because he was on New England, because I don't like the Patriots.
Well, I was a Dolphins fan. I mean, when he came in, the Dolphins didn't even compete while he was there. I think they maybe won the division once and got the wild card. But yeah, I like that. I liked him a lot more when he came down to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I have, because it showed that he's doing this just for football. He's not doing it for money. That's why he's taking pay cuts, because he knows he can make it up in endorsements and keep his team together.
How cold has it been up there in Montana? Florida is having like their technical like first cold winter day. And it's really not, it's just cold overnight. Once the sun comes out, it jumps. It's like a 20-degree temperature swing. Has it been really bad up in Montana?
It's the same thing with the temperature swing. So about 2 weeks ago, dude, it was 22 below. And then this last week, it was 50 degrees. And now today, it's 8 degrees. I mean, Al Gore was right. Something's going on with the ozone. We messed up somewhere.
I was also, speaking of the environment stuff, there's a report that came out where the Earth's core is actually cooling at a faster rate. Do you think us as humans were like, as long as it doesn't happen when I'm alive?
I don't care. I hope it happens when I am alive. I used to say I hope I didn't. Now I don't really care. Bring on super volcano. I'm gonna be dead.
That Tonga, that one that happened, man, that was a hell of an explosion.
Oh yeah. Well, just even look at the footage back in the day from Mount St. Helens. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that guy that caught that video actually died. He sat out there and he caught that whole side of the mountain coming down for Mount St. Helens.
Yeah. Well, of course, if you're breathing in that ash too, that's gonna eventually have effects on you. But I was watching this great documentary about volcanoes called what was the name of it? Oh yeah, Dante's Peak. It's
damn it.
Pierce Brosnan.
I was going to ask you, you remember that was in the little phase that Hollywood went through where they like to make two similar movies in the same year. They had Dante's Peak and then Volcano with Tommy Lee.
Yeah, exactly.
Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Hesh.
Yeah, I preferred the team of Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton.
Oh, I forgot she was even in. Man, damn it.
Yeah, she was in that. That movie was great because that old lady leads that canoe across that. If that water had acid in it, her legs would have burned up a little faster than what they did.
Yeah. I that was a little. Well, most of these movies, but you also got to remember the other similar movie. I think it actually came out in the same year. You had Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because Dante's Peak was actually filmed over in Idaho. When I go over Spokane, you drive through the town that they used for the shots of the town, But then you look around and you're like, there's no mountain hill like that. They put all that in.
What was there was another movie that I watched. It was about an asteroid. You know who Gerard Butler has kind of fallen off. I'm fascinated with what happens in actors' lives where they start getting really bad movies. Like, for example, Bruce Willis just did this one that was like straight to like on demand. And it was just like very uncomfortable for me to watch because I was like, dude, what happened to Bruce?
Was it that World War II one with Adrian Brody?
No,
or Adam Brody?
I think it was something called like it was like not Safe Room, but it was like this island where I guess there was a bunch of drug runners and stuff, and I felt bad, man. But Gerard Butler, I think Gerard Butler was in 300, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So he was in this movie Greenland, where a comet was coming down. They had to get up to Greenland, and you can tell when a movie has a low budget. It's just the acting, the stunt stuff. It's just horrible.
Gerard Butler seems like he's going to end up taking the Russell Crowe path. Where remember when Russell Crowe was like ripped and in shape and stuff, and then
Gladiator.
he got super fat. Then he got super fat. I see Gerard Butler doing maybe not getting as fat as Russell Crowe, but I see him definitely putting on the pounds in the next few years. Because again, if he's doing those crap ass movies, what does that say about his career? I mean, not like he was some,
300 though. 300
was great, but that was what has he done after that? That was that great. That movie that he did with Jennifer Aniston, where they were a married couple and then he's a bounty hunter. No, that movie stunk.
He did a Guy Ritchie movie there for what the hell was the Guy Ritchie movie he did? I cannot remember that.
That recent one with Matthew McConaughey, was he in that one?
No, that was The Gentleman. That wasn't that bad, but man,
I never saw that one.
Guy Ritchie, like, he came straight out of the bite. He did Layer Cake, right? And then he did Snatch. And then I don't think it's been a downhill nosedive for him.
Well, you know why? He was married to Madonna for a while.
Ugh.
She sucked the life right out of him. That's why she's got to get younger guys. She's a age vampire. She's sucking the age right out of him, so she can try to live forever.
Oh, she's a succubus.
She is. Look at the people that she's with after they leave. Like, Guy Ritchie's just now trying to recover. He had to make that crapper The Gentleman before he makes a new movie.
One of the other. Did you ever watch any of the HBO like original series that they did? Like Oz. Oz made me really uncomfortable. There was so many prison rapes, and
yes.
and it just, man, I was like, holy crap. And that
Oz?
Mulaney guy from Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, he's a hell of an actor.
J.K. Simmons was in that as well too, playing
J.K. Simmons was great. I watched that later on after I'd already seen J.K. Simmons and stuff. I had went back and watched Oz. So going back and seeing that, you're like, oh my God, that's J. Jonah Jameson playing a racist. And then, at the time, then you go back and you listen to like interviews and stuff, and he thought he was going to get typecasted as that because that's all he got his parts. I think he's a great actor, dude. The movie Lady Killers that the Coen brothers did with him, where they're trying to steal that money, that's such an underrated movie.
He had the irritable bowel syndrome where he had the.
He's like, yep, there's no medication, only control.
Did you ever see that Whiplash movie he did where he was that asshole like conductor for like a college like jazz band?
No, I saw the trailer for it, but I never did watch it.
Oh man, he was a complete asshole in that movie, but like he got the best out of him. Like, whoa, the main character was like not on rhythm and stuff, and he was like, "Are you fast or are you slow?" And the guy was like, "No, I don't know." And he was slapping him in the face. He was like, "Was I fast on that slap or was I slow on that slap?" Like he would throw like cymbals at people. He was a maniac in that movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Other HBO shows that I've been checking out. Did you ever watch The Wire?
Oh yeah, I own it. That's one of that and The Sopranos are probably two of the greatest TV series that have ever been made.
The Wire,
The
man.
Wire. I will say something about The Wire though. There is kind of a low spot in it.
What season? Because I don't remember any, but I'm on season 3 right now. I'm rewatching the whole thing.
See, a lot of people don't like the second season where they're down at the docks, but I
with
actually like the storyline. I like that storyline, and I like the one dude that gets killed, the guy that plays Frank Sabatka, the one that's the head. He's in a bunch of stuff now. He's in that new show, the wrestling one, Heels. He's like the owner of the Federation. That guy's a hell of an actor too. I don't know what his name is. He's in The Deuce. He's James Franco's uncle or something like that, and he ends up running the whorehouse.
Man, who's
Have
the
you
guy
watched
that played?
The Deuce? Speaking of HBO shows,
I've
you
not
should check
watched
it out.
it.
It's good. It's only 3 seasons of it, but it's a bunch of people from The Wire in it. Method Man's in it. He plays a pimp.
Yeah, he played Cheese in The Wire. He was
great.
Cheese.
I mean, the dude that played Marlowe too. He's also in that.
He just died, didn't he? Or no, that was Omar that just died.
Yeah, Michael K. Williams. He just died. Omar was great. You know, Omar was only supposed to be in a couple episodes of the first season, but then they took a look at him and they're like, oh, God, they wrote this whole long character for him.
Whoever's idea was to make him gay in that show, it was brilliant and I think edgy because, you know, the guy he wasn't an undercover brother at all. He was like right out there.
Not only that, but the dude was a badass. Like, he just straight up shooting people, robbing drug dealers and shit. That when I saw that the first time, I was like, oh my God. That's a hell of a fucking the whole show's great. The first season is amazing. The one Michael B. Jordan in that as and he ends up getting addicted to heroin.
You know who was the craziest like sociopathic character? Because we've talked about American Psycho before, but the guy that played Chris Partlow or whatever his name was, he would be like, yo, I got you, man. It'll be over with quick. And he would just shoot him right in the head. And he was like,
oh, yeah, like, Marlowe's hitman. That and Snoop, the chick, too, running around killing people. Yeah, man. I thought you were going to say the most psychopathic killer was American Psycho 2 when it was Mila Kunis. That stinker.
Yeah. And one last HBO show that I totally forgot about. I don't think I ever finished watching it because No, Big Love. Did you ever?
Oh. A little bit.
Any polygamy? Polygamy is kind of, big in that little Midwest area, right?
Yeah, especially in Utah and stuff, a little further south from where I'm at. That was a show I couldn't really get into, but I was happy that Bill Paxton was getting a check because I always thought he was a great actor, even though he's one of those guys that plays himself.
Dude. Wasn't it Weird Science was one of the first movies I remember him in as Chaz? Was it Chad?
Or his brother.
And they turned him into a big pile of shit.
Yeah, dude, he was funny. He was great as Coconut Pete in Club Dread. See, I wish he wouldn't have died, so they could have made another thing with him in it.
He's one of those celebrities. I missed his death. Like a couple years later, I was like.
It went under the radar because he went in for a back surgery and he died on the table.
Man, that was, and don't forget, Aliens, Twister. I used to.
Oh, yeah, fucking
him
Twister.
and Helen in the Twister ride at Universal. Because Helen Hunt and him hated each other. And
Helen Hunt, I heard, is a real pain in the ass to work with. I've seen a lot of interviews with people and they say a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, for sure. I remember the Twister ride with the little Twister would come out in front of you and stuff. That's all gone now. I think that's Harry Potter land.
Yeah, they're getting rid of a bunch of rides. They do that every so often. They Confrontation they got rid of at Universal. They got rid of the Jaws ride. They've been marking out way too much of the Harry Potter stuff, but I guess they're getting a deal.
Yeah, I can't get behind that. I've been pissed off ever since they changed up Dueling Dragons when the dragons didn't go at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
People would lose change, kids might fly off. The good old days.
Well, I told you about that Army veteran guy that lost like an $8,000 prosthetic leg that was made out of like parts from the space shuttle.
God bless him. Why wouldn't you take that? That's cocky. You don't think it's suspended and your legs are dangling. What do you think is going to happen? Leave the foot at the entrance of the ride. Nobody's going to steal that thing. What are you wearing? Do you think he wore that on the Doctor Doom Fear Drop? I don't think so. That thing off.
No, not at all, man. And then I was kind of sad that they got rid of the Back to the Future ride as well too. They replaced it with the Simpsons.
That made me sick when I went on it. I think it's because the screen was too close. But I still have my Back to the Future license plate that I got from there that says "out of time."
Out of time.
What about the Kong ride that would have that big flare up of the fireball that would like basically singe you in that little traveling cart that you were in? That or Earthquake? Remember that ride? Did you ever go on that one?
Yeah, Earthquake's gone. Confrontation's gone. Jaws is gone.
I love it. Even though it was cheesy as hell.
Now they replaced.
Jaws was great if you had a good boat driver.
Yeah, they were great. Like if you got one that was like into it, and I wanted my boat driver on Jaws to like oversell the work. Like I wanted over the top.
I had a white gay guy the first time I was on there that was so over the top. It was great. And then the last time I was on it was this big black dude, and he was funny as hell. He's like, "Oh damn, there comes a shark again."
Oh, that's shark.
He's like, "You better watch out over on the side there," because this kid was kind of like leaning over. He's like, "I wouldn't be doing that." It was hilarious.
Watch this shark. He's about to bite this power line.
He was totally into it. It was great.
Oh man. So I've been catching up on a lot of these shows as of late. HBO. I for some reason I'm avoiding that Many Saints of New York. Like I just have a feeling
I haven't watched it yet either because so many people said it was a stinker. I'll give it a try. I might, have to eat some hallucinogenics to make it palatable for me because I really didn't need to see. I mean, James, if you watch The Deuce, that's where James Gandolfini's son started. That's why he ended up being in that. One of his main acting roles was he plays the nephew of the guy that plays Frank Sabatka in The Wire. So he plays his son. So he ends up working at the whorehouse too, and he falls in love with one of the whores. It's a whole thing. If you can get past James Franco playing twin brothers, it's not bad. And if you can get past Maggie Gyllenhaal playing a whore and seeing her naked, which I didn't really mind. It's a female Jake.
Yeah, I know, but I used to think I was like, I didn't find her attractive at all, but like later on I was like, man, okay.
I think there's something she's got I wouldn't say she's drop dead hot, but she's certainly attractive. I think so anyway. I don't know. Who do I know?
There was another movie I was watching the other day. Not one of Heath Ledger's best roles, but A Knight's Tale was on. And the chick that played the queen or the princess, she was also in Rules of Attraction or the one where it had Patrick Bateman's brother or whatever in it. You remember the one? It was a college one. It was crap. What the hell? It had Dawson, the guy that played Dawson in Dawson's Creek.
Oh, James Van Der Beek?
Yeah, James Van Der Beek.
Is it the one where they're like in the cult or something?
Yes, I forget, man. That chick that played in, I think she was in a bunch of those other teen movies. Some of those teen movies in the late 90s.
All I remember from A Knight's Tale is that Mark Addy's in it.
Also Paul Bettany, Jarvis from the Marvel movies. Paul Bettany is actually a really good actor as well, too, I think.
Isn't Alan Tudyk in that, too?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, there you go. That guy's a kind of an underrated actor, too. He's pretty funny.
Firefly. I loved him in Firefly. That was got one season on it. So how is the new work that you don't have to say where, but like how's the new job going for you?
It's good. The hours are later on, which are perfect for me. I don't have to get up super early, which I'm all about. And the day goes by pretty quick and the pay's not bad. So
Did you have to pee test?
No, absolutely not. which is kind of weird because later on they want you to run a forklift, and I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. But then I started looking at some of the people that work there, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, they can't. Again, it wouldn't matter if they did because it's
Recreational now.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that I'm doing. It's not like I'm doing speed anymore. You know, it can't be trusted, Tuddle. Not in this day and age. Not with all the bad junk going around. You don't want to get Kate out here in the middle of nowhere.
Dude, you when working on the job sites, being an iron worker and stuff, you could tell all the weed smokers because working on top of the decking and welding and putting screws in and having to paint the welds was the worst job in the world. But the weed smokers all wanted to be up on top of the roof because once you got the roof down, you could basically do anything up there. You could chalk up lines on the metal decking.
Oh man, they knew what they were doing. It's a good place to hide up there.
And you could always tell the people that did drugs on a construction site because if they got hurt, I saw a guy, his finger was hanging off, and you were like, "Oh, you got to go to the hospital." He's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm good.
I'll take care of that later. When's lunch?"
Well, I told you the story about the guy that they did have to take to the hospital, and they'll kick you out immediately if they workman's comp won't cover it if you test positive for anything.
Oh,
and my dad picked up the guy from the hospital, and because he got kicked out, my dad was like, so smoking marijuana. My dad didn't care about marijuana or anything like that. He just, it looked bad on him being the boss. Mm-hmm. He was like, so you were smoking weed? He was like, yeah, I caught a ride to work. It was secondhand smoke. And my dad was like, oh, secondhand smoke. He was like, all right, how'd you get the cocaine in your system?
Secondhand blow.
Yeah, did the bag rip open and it just hit the air conditioner vent and everybody just got coated? They got dusted.
It would have been funny if he went with the lie. He's like, well, I have a penchant for finding men, and this guy had a white substance around his genital area, and I don't know what happened. Somehow it got into me. There was a trip out to the mangroves. That's all you need to know.
Oh man. So I got over the COVID. You still haven't gotten it yet, have you?
No, I have not. It's funny that it's not funny that you bring that up because they just had a big thing. It's flaring up here again, like a bad case of the herpes up here in Montana, because of course everything takes that much longer to get here. And so they had a meeting the other day and they're going on about COVID and stuff like that, which I've still been doing the same stuff that I've been doing since before COVID, man. I've always been like a weird germ person at work or when I go out. So as soon as I come home, I basically almost shower again and, decontaminate. And then I go about my business in the house. Even if I don't have time for that, I'm washing my hands right as soon as I come in, just because outside world skeeves me out. But
they make you guys wear masks the whole time or no? Yeah,
they do. And so they started going on about people not wearing them in the break room and doing stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go out to my car. I'll go out to the car, handle my business, and come back in.
I always went to my car. I went to my car when I was working stock at Winn-Dixie. I always went out to the car.
Well, I can't for my last break, which kind of sucks. But the last break's great because you know that there's only like an hour and a half left of work before you go home. So,
any ladies on the crew?
What's that?
Any good looking chicks working at the new place?
Know what? There's actually one, and I don't know if she's single or not. But get this, dude. It's so fucking weird. I know that she's not going out with this dude because the dude is married, and I saw him with his wife or whatever. But him and this, first of all, I thought this guy was gay, which nothing wrong with that. As I tell the story, you'll be like, that's kind of weird. I thought he was gay. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw a ring. I was like, oh, he's married or whatever. I was like, good for him. Especially around here, dude. People aren't very kind to gay people still.
We don't like those kind. We don't like those kind.
No, there's a lot of hill jacks, which is funny. So whatever. I noticed that he's like always like sharing food with this chick and like using the same fork, drinking out of the same cups and stuff like that. I was like, at first I thought they were married. Then I was like, no, it's not him. Then I found out that he's married to this chick. I was like, well, what the fuck? Are they like brother or sister or something? So I don't know what they got going
Polygamous. Trying to get a second wife.
I don't know what the hell is going on. So I've been like, kind of, I want to talk to this chick because she seems kind of cool. And every time I have, she's, nice and stuff like that. But I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then I was like, you know what, Charlie? I don't need to get involved with this. My name's Paul, and this is between y'all. I don't need to fucking deal with any of this shit. I'm just working here for a couple more months so I can get some money saved up so I can leave here this spring and still do what I plan on doing, which is touring around. And eventually I'm going to come down there and we're going to record shit live, which will be crazy.
Yes. Any thoughts about Bob Saget?
Yeah, it was. I was kind of surprised about that. I wonder. I'm still curious for when the autopsy stuff comes out if it's something that related to his issues that he had with COVID or something like that. Because I mean, like I said, like we talked off here, I don't think it's not 1980s. He wasn't doing bad blow. I mean, he seems too old to do that. Maybe it was a combination of pills or something like that. You never know. People get.
But he just had COVID, right?
He did. That's why I think I wonder if it was related something to that. Who knows? It does suck. If anybody, do you think there's a big outpouring if Dave Coulier dies?
Maybe Alanis Morissette would show up.
How many cut it out jokes?
Cut it out. My life.
Did anybody ever find it odd that 3 men in San Francisco, for a while, there was no prospects before Aunt Becky moved in or whatever her name was?
I always thought that was strange.
The thief Lori Loughlin.
Who was the neighbor chick? She was kind of annoying, but I was around that age when. Yeah.
What's her name in the show? Or what? Yeah, Andrea something. I forget. Yeah, she's one that you see on all these stuff too. Good for her. She got a nice payday, and then she was in the Fuller House, which I was surprised that they made that. Let's make a show with Cameron Burke or whatever. Why don't you just have her brother come in there and talk about God for an hour and a half?
Her brother is such a weirdo.
He's insane. Like he's Stephen Baldwin type into God, which I don't listen. If religion is whatever, you can be whatever religion you are. I'm a pretty open person when it comes to stuff like that. But people that are overly into stuff, I always look a little like
they're overcompensating, like they're trying to hide something.
People that are overly into sports teams and stuff like that. Like, I don't know about that. Like, I can understand being a fan, but being like, I live or die by this team.
It ruins your day. It ruins your day.
You live or die by a team that doesn't give a shit about you to begin with. You think the owners care? They just want you to buy jerseys. They want you to buy merchandise. They want you to support their cause so they can make even more money and get even more money for TV ads and revenue and stuff. Like, it's so dumb. Again, people that are over, like Kirk Cameron with the overly religious stuff. I was like, that's kind of odd. Why are you so into Jesus that much?
Overcompensating, trying to hide stuff. Just like why a lot of people become Catholic priests, because they think it'll save their souls because they're into dudes.
They can just shuffle around to different places. Well, that's bull. You know what I mean? Because honestly, if they're getting shuffled around and then they're taking advantage of kids. When if you're gay and you're an old dude, go get out of there and go find somebody that's actually consenting.
Yeah,
Don't take advantage of young people and screw them up.
I want a flaming gay Catholic priest. I might go to that church.
I bet there is somewhere wearing like a pink pastor's vestment or whatever, or reverend or whatever they are.
Yeah, rosary anal beads.
Oh man, I think that would be a little blasphemy, a little crossing. And
you take it all the way until the cross gets to the O-ring.
Oh man, and who's pulling that out? The organist?
No, the altar boy.
No, see, I would think it would be, they wouldn't go for the cliche altar boy. They would have somebody else.
Oh, it would be that dude that carries that little lantern that smoke's coming out of it.
Yeah. Imagine if that had some weed in it. Then it would make church tolerable, wouldn't it?
Full circle.
Religion like that? It's all take little bits and pieces of everything. So you take Rastafarian religion and you put the weed in the Catholic swingy deal. And you get the pews because you're going to need something to sit in.
Sacrament is an edible. You get a little bit of.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get rid of that freaking untasty cardboard tasting wafer that you got.
Well,
and
Charlie,
then maybe if things start getting that bad, you could always have a Santeria and kill a chicken and then eat it up.
All right, Charlie. Well, I enjoyed this conversation, man. Let's whenever you're free, let's start recording some more stuff. All right.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right. I hope you have a great day. Still at Real Lame Charlie.
Yes, I am.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Real Lame Charlie. Have a great day, my friend. Hopefully work goes well for you.
Thanks, you as well, man.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuddle category at 315live.com. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, and PocketPairClub.com. Special thanks to show producer Vulture and co-host Sirach. Show voiceover service is brought to you by JCVoiceover.com and The Little Cheese Show. Download and subscribe to The Little Cheese Show everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuddleOnTheRadio. You have something you want to say? Tuddle@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all Tuddle social media, go to Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with 2Ds.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
I get ignorant in normal situations.
What you mean?
What the fuck you mean?
What are you talking about?
Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about?
Oh, shit!